Hey, this is Shantae here with the Cox Team at HomesFinder Realty Group. We have 12 days for Christmas, so I figured I'd do 12 videos of things that can help you as a first time or even any home buyer. You know my feelings on home ownership. I feel like it's obtainable by all, as long as you have proper guidance, like a good realtor like me, and hopefully a good lender like Pam. So I brought Pam here, and she's with.
I'm with GMFS Mortgage.
And I wanted her to ask some questions that I feel are pertinent to you as a home buyer. So, Pam, how long have you been doing this business?
I have been in this business almost 4 years now. I actually retired from a pharmaceutical company, and I have done all of my mortgages through GMFS for as long as I've been a homeowner. And we decided to retire in South Carolina, and the vice president called and asked if I would be interested in going to work for them in South Carolina, and I said yes.
Good. Well, it's always a pleasure to have you. I've learned a lot from you since becoming a realtor.
Oh, thank you.
So I appreciate you taking the time to do this with me.
You're welcome.
All right, so my first question is, what's the first step of purchasing a home?
Well, the first step of purchasing a home should be to get in touch with a great lender like GMFS and get pre-qualified. And the pre-qualification process is very, very simple. It's an online application that can be filled out by the client within 5 minutes, and we can get you pre-qualified as quickly as 15 to 20 minutes.
Oh, good. What documents do I need to apply?
Really, just to get pre-qualified, you don't need a lot of documents. You'll need your driver's license number and your social security number, because we do pull credit. But until we get into the whole loan process and processing the paperwork, we really don't need anything to pre-qualify.
Okay. All right, what is the advantage of a local lender?
Oh gosh. Our office is on Fripp Island, and we do a lot of business for primary homes in the Beaufort area and secondary homes on Fripp. And I always tell the realtors it is so important to get your client to do business with a local lender, because we know the property, we know the appraisers, we know the insurance people, we know the home inspectors, and so we have relationships with those people, and it just really helps the process move along more quickly and a lot smoother.
Okay. All right. How do I know how much I can afford? Because I know that many times when people go into want to purchase a home, they don't really know what they can afford.
Right. Well, we typically ask the client at first, what price range are you looking at, and we, plug in that figure, and we find out what kind of down payment that they're going to make, and we can back into it regarding that as to what payment that loan would produce, and their debt that we pull up on their credit report, so we can kind of massage those numbers along the way.
All right. Do you find it's easier to look at the number as more of a monthly than it is overall? Because I know sometimes people hear things like $300,000 and they think, I couldn't possibly afford that.
Yes, it is all about the monthly payment. And in regards to that, a lot of people will say, oh, I don't know if I can afford a house because I have $10,000 in credit card debt. Well, it really doesn't matter, because we only look at the monthly minimum payment required on those cards. And of course that factors into the monthly payment on the mortgage as well, including insurance and taxes. So that's a great point.
Okay. What type of home loans do you offer?
We do it all. We do conventional, we do jumbo, we do VA, USDA, FHA. So we pretty much, do, construction to perm. We pretty much do it all.
What do you mean by construction to perm?
Construction to perm loan is a loan that you take out if you're going to build a house, and we go ahead and close on the loan up front, and then we give the builder draws, on that loan. And the great thing about our construction to perm loans is you don't pay interest on the entire loan amount. You only pay interest on the amount drawn.
Oh, good, good, good. So you would be a good lender to come to if I already own a plot of land and I'm ready to build on it.
Absolutely, because we can use that plot of land, if it's free and clear of a mortgage, as equity into that construction loan.
All right. What is a VA loan and what are the advantages of that? Because I know here in Beaufort we got it's tri-based. So we got Naval Hospital, the Air Station, and Paris Island. So VA loans tend to be pretty common. So what's so special about them?
Well, a VA loan is actually a benefit to the veterans. It allows the veterans to borrow money with 0% down payment, at a little bit lower interest rate and a higher debt to income. So it's really a benefit that is offered to veterans with those ingredients in that loan as a way of saying thank you for your service.
Okay. Is it hard for a veteran or active duty military member to get a VA loan as far as like requirements?
No, not at all. And Jan and I, we really have become proficient in doing VA loans, and we have a checklist of things that we ask the veteran to provide us, and we try to be very concise with that. And it's a very easy process for the veteran, and it's a very great benefit for that veteran to have a VA loan with us.
Or participate in any program first-time home buyers?
Yes, we do. We actually give a lender credit to first-time home buyers of $750, and that goes toward their closing costs, because typically first-time home buyers don't have a lot of cash to put toward closing costs and attorney fees, so we help the first-time home buyers with that.
All right. Right now, interest rates are higher than they've been in a few months, what everybody says. I mean, I know that historically they've been much higher, but this is right now higher than what people consider the norm. So what's the advantage as a home buyer right now with the higher interest rates?
Well, I think right now the advantage that a home buyer has is the fact that people aren't throwing above asking price any longer like they were maybe a year ago with interest rates so low. So that's really good for a home buyer because they're not losing out on bids that are $40,000 and $50,000 after over asking price. Jan and I really try to hone in on the fact to, date the rate and marry the house. Because if you find a house that you love, we will do our best to try to make it work. We have some programs that the seller can participate in to get your interest rate 2%, maybe 3% lower than what interest rates are now. And we just recommend that you, again, date the rate, marry the house, and interest rates are supposedly supposed to drop probably April or May of last year, and we can always take that and refinance if the interest rate's lower.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, I think that right now is a good time to buy because I think as a realtor that I have I can have more than I can negotiate with.
Exactly.
I felt like when the interest rate were lower, there were, funds were more plentiful, and it made the average buyer not as competitive. But I feel like right now it's a little bit easier for me to negotiate things like closing, getting just any type of assistance from the seller before they weren't even considering.
Yeah.
All right. What if I don't have a down payment?
If you don't have a down payment, you would fall into that VA category for sure. And then we also participate in some down payment assistance programs through the community, through a company called Community Works. So you can inquire about that as well.
Okay. What is earnest money?
Earnest money is something that is given upon ratification of the contract that really just, it's money given from the buyer to the seller that says, hey, we really do want this property. And that earnest money, whether it's 1% of the sales price or 10% of the sales price, is applied to your overall closing cost and down payment at the end of the close of the loan.
Typically, what is earnest money usually like a percentage or?
That's typically up to the realtor. We don't require any type of percentage, so really that's between the realtor and the seller's agent and the buyer and the seller.
Okay. What are closing costs?
Closing costs are the costs associated with actually getting the loan done and in the system. we at GMFS charge hardly anything as far as closing costs. We have an admin fee, and that's about it. Most of your closing costs are wrapped up in the appraisal fee, your attorney cost, and then any prepaids like insurance, flood insurance, and taxes that have to be prepaid in order to escrow those amounts in the loan.
Okay. What are the most common type of mortgage loans?
I would say, in our area, probably conventional and VA loans. We have had quite a few construction to perm, but those are, kind of subsiding a little bit, but probably conventional, VA, and FHA if you have a higher debt to income or, a lower credit score.
Okay. All right. What's the 3-2-1 buy down, and why is it appealing to a buyer? I know earlier you said that you like to use the motto of date the mortgage and marry the home.
Mhm.
So I think that would be, a good thing for 3-2-1 for you.
Yes, yeah, date the rate and marry the home. Basically, a 3-2-1 buy down is an amount that the seller contributes to the settlement or the closing of the loan. And that amount is based on what the buyer is borrowing and the interest rate that that buyer qualifies for. And that amount is put into an escrow account, a non-interest bearing escrow account, and helps the buyer make his loan payment 2% lower than it is right now what they qualify for. So let me give you an example.
Okay.
Let's just say the buy down for a $500,000 home is $8,000. The seller would contribute $8,000 at closing, and we hold those funds in escrow, and that $8,000 subsidizes the buyer's payment every month for 3 years, 2 years, or 1 year. And let's say this buyer qualifies at a rate for 6% today. Basically, the amount the seller subsidizes lowers that buyer's payment to 4% for the first year.
Okay.
Okay, so
And then what would be the second year?
the second year it would go up to 5%, and then the third year, the final year, it only goes up to what they qualified for today, which is the 6%. The great thing is the buyer never loses that money. That is their money. And so if, let's say, interest rates go way down next year and they want to refinance, that money is still in an escrow account and will be used to pay off the note or the mortgage in order to refinance. So it's always their money.
So it's by no means a variable interest rate, it's set.
No, it is set.
All right.
It's
Okay.
a fabulous product.
All right. Do you underwrite or fund your own loans?
We obviously have an underwriting department, and we have underwriters basically all over the Southeast. Most of them work in our Baton Rouge, Louisiana office. But we do not sell our loans. We carry our own paper and we service our own loans. So I know, a lot of people, would say, yeah, I did my loan with XYZ Bank and then I got a bill from, PDQ Bank, and that's because they sell their loans, but we don't. We service our own loan, and we also own the servicing department that services the loan, which is huge.
So if I start with you and I have something that I need to discuss with you, I can still discuss it with you?
Absolutely.
From day one all the way to 30 years.
Absolutely. I don't know about 30 years from now.
No.
Hopefully I won't be doing this for 30 more years.
Oh, yeah. But you'll still be around.
That's right.
All right. How do I choose a mortgage lender?
Like I said before, it's so important that you do your due diligence in talking to lenders. I think it's important to me as a lender that I connect with my client and I establish a rapport and a relationship with them up front. There have been so many situations where Jan and I have, helped people with loans, and we dine with them once a week now. We've made friends with them. So I think it's just a matter of, understanding their personality. And I always, ask them what they need from me, what their expectations are from me. and make sure that I fulfill those throughout the loan process.
All right. And that right there is gonna conclude today. I hope that this helps some people out. I hope they learn some things. I know now you might have more questions than when you started with. You might want elaboration on other things, but if you could put the questions in your comments and contact us, I'll be sure to get you the answer. I'll put a link in there so you can contact Pam. But you know, maybe we can do this again, have another session where we can discuss all the questions and that you come up with. But thank you and have a happy holiday.